What's up, everybody? It's your five-star realtor Joshua Ingram, partnering with Page Progress Team, broken by EXP. Listen, we got a brand new podcast called the DreamBuilders Podcast. Right now, I'm right here with my partner, Bradford Page. You introduce yourself, Bradford.
What's up, man? Bradford Page with Page Progress Team, broken by EXP.
Perfect. And now we got our special guest, Don Folk, right here with Unisource Mortgage Services. And today in our podcast, we want to let you know that the purpose of our podcast is our mission is to help buyers and sellers and agents connect with the resources and knowledge to achieve their real estate goals. And that's what we want to do each and every week for you all. So today, I'm right here with Don Folk, and we was talking earlier today about different things happening in the market today. So if you would like what's going on in the market that you'd like to tell the viewers today?
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of good stuff happening right now, Josh. It's an awesome time to buy. I mean, you got a lot of people moving in for the summer, etc. We've got rates are starting to come down a little bit. Obviously, it's no sort of crash or anything like that, but we've started seeing some really improvement over what we were seeing earlier this year and last year. And we actually have some really hot programs rolling out right now, some great offers for first-time home buyers, etc. So it is an awesome time to buy. I know a lot of people are going, oh, I want to wait for the market to crash. I want to wait for these things. Honestly, with the plant opening in the Savannah market, etc., the prices aren't getting better. Yeah. So rates going down a little bit right now. It is a great time for people to buy. I've got people right now that are starting to get back into that pre-approval range of where they wanted to be due to some rate decreases, and I think it's an awesome time for people to buy.
For sure. What about you? You think it's an awesome time to buy?
Oh, absolutely. And getting back with Don, because he's our featured guest here today, is, what do they talk about? Tell me that phrase.
Yeah, they say that you gotta marry the house, date the rate. Yeah. And honestly, it's true. I mean, there'll be awesome opportunities to refi in the next few years, and you see that if you look at the fact that right now, if I were to price at this moment an adjustable rate mortgage, it would actually be priced worse than a 30-year fixed. And the reason why is they know the rate's going to adjust down when it adjusts. So they're front-loading interest on it right now.
But even if it adjusts down, we're not seeing 3% again.
We're not going to see 3% again, but I would be shocked to not see 5.5s in the foreseeable future at a good time to refinance.
I hear buyers out there saying that.
I
I see buyers out there, they want to wait. They want to wait till that rate comes back down to 3.5, that wonderful thing we were in. And man, if we ever go back down to 3%, that's because we're all out of work.
For sure. But I don't mean to interrupt y'all, right?
Yeah.
So actually, in new construction, that mortgage you talk about 5.25 and 5.5, you can get that with D.R. Horton. I was just talking with Chris Huff at D.R. Horton for new construction just last week, and he was telling me for a VA and a conventional loan, if you go with the DHI mortgage lender, preferred lender, then you can get a rate at a 5.25, and if you got conventional, you go 5.5. So that's new construction right in Richmond Hill, Georgia, and in Savannah. So I love it. I think the rates are, they're going to go up. There is inflation happening, but at the same time, people are still buying and selling. Even with the market now, the inventory. New construction is starting to. I feel like it's going to be the next big thing because there's a lot of incentives you can get other than you do with an existing home. So like with new construction, you can get 10%, $10,000 in closing. You can get like appliances, like with D.R. Horton, you get a camera light and Alexa. What? For what? Just for buying a home, right? And then also you can get incentive like with the new Homes for Heroes. You get $2,000 in closing or get something back from that. So with new construction, you couldn't get that with an existing listing, because existing listing you might just get the home inspection or they might do repairs. Well, with new construction, it's right there, brand new.
You're right, and there's a lot of perks for going new construction, and there's a lot of really good neighborhoods that are still building in the area. It's an awesome opportunity for a lot of people that are really trying to jump in. Now, new construction, the approval process is a little bit different because obviously you got to lock a little bit further out. You got to have a different commitment, and sometimes that does work well. I mean, I'm doing new construction right now and on my own house, and that's because I need a specific close date. I need to know that further down the road I'm going to have a house and there may not be inventory available for what I'm looking for house-wise in that time frame. And there's other options also, though, that really do help Right now, one product I have that I'm super excited about, and I wanted to share with you guys for first-time home buyers, people generally with 700 credit up, so your higher credit borrowers, we actually are able to offer 3% conventional. So 3% down on a conventional loan is pretty much unheard of, and we're able to offer that to first-time home buyers with a rate adjustment as well. So not only are they going to get a better rate than a standard conventional buyer, they're also going to be able to do 3% down with no income cap on that. Yeah. Meaning it's not a lower income bracket, it's not a minority base. It is for all first-time home buyers with good credit. And that's an awesome option, and they can use that for a lot of different property types. It's not tied to rural like USDA. It's not tied to specifically move-in ready like FHA. There's a lot of freedom with that, and it doesn't have some of those overlays that VA lending has. Sure. So that'll be an awesome opportunity for some of these first-time home buyers.
Great benefit. So we're working with a lot of first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
And if they got to come up with 5, 10, or 20% down, they're talking on a $300,000 house because they're probably going to have an appraisal, either leave the appraisal out of it or having a gap contingency or escalation clauses in there. So for a $300,000 house, a first-time home buyer is going to have to come up with $35,000 or $40,000 to buy a house, and something that may be overvalued at that point. So having another option to go to 3%, that's anywhere from 10 to 17% savings right off the bat. So keeping money in your pocket when you're buying a house is a good thing because you're going to have expenses. You're going to have movement expenses. You may want to do some paint and do some other things. So great to hear about that.
Yeah.
And while we're talking about that, since we are kind of orienting this towards first-time home buyers today, you threw some words out there that are words I get buyers come to me all the time and go, what is this? So appraisal gap. Explain a little bit more about that for first-time home buyers may not have heard of that before.
So, you buy a house, if you're going to get a loan for it, the lender's only going to give you your loan based upon the value of the property. That's going to be done by an appraiser. And if we got a $300,000 house in this market right now, oftentimes they're going under contract either through an escalation clause or just getting outbid. It could be going under contract for 310, 320 pretty easily. So that means you're competing against people who are willing to pay 10 or 20,000 over appraised value, which, as long as the market keeps going up, which we can't see that not happening, that's not a bad thing. You're in the house you want. I think, they talk about it in pro sports a lot. What's the best ability? Availability.
Yeah.
If you're not available to get out on the court and play, then I don't care what kind of deal you got, you might as well stay home. So you got to find homes that are out there available. You're limited, so you got to compete. So the appraisal clauses basically says that we're going to go ahead and we have the appraisal to protect you, so you're not going to pay more than appraised value. But that's not going to work for some sellers. They want to get the max. So if you say you're going to pay $320 and it only appraises for $310, then you put in a gap clause that says you're going to pay that $10,000 out of pocket. So now, in addition to your 10 or 20% down, you put another $10,000 down out of your pocket, and people are doing it. So that's what we're competing with for first-time home buyers. So if you can do a 3% instead of 20%, you're saving a lot of money.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely puts a lot of power in the buyer's hands. And as a first-time home buyer, it can be a little bit scary. I remember when I bought my first house, I didn't ask questions, and that was because I was terrified the deal would fall through. I didn't want to ask too much. I didn't realize until now, looking back, that I had a solid deal. I was way better off than I thought I was in the deal, but I didn't want to do something to make it wrong. And one of the things we love at Unisource is that I always tell people, I actually had this conversation with a buyer today, that there is no stupid question. Ask the questions and feel comfortable, and you should feel comfortable with anybody in this room or any of your real estate professionals you choose to work with, that you can ask those questions, because it should be an awesome process. And nobody looks forward to calling a mortgage broker. I tell people, the best part of the mortgage process is calling your realtor and picking out a house and going to look at houses. The bad part's when I have to say no or yes. And I want to kind of break that stigma a little bit and get buyers comfortable with talking to us about the hard stuff so that we can go ahead and create a more informed buyer. And that's part of what I'm doing with first-time home buyers, is really walking them through that process and making sure they understand it.
So you got me thinking about another thing here right now. So some people are uncomfortable calling a person and saying, this is what I make, and this is my credit score, because maybe it's not 800, but so they're a little embarrassed. Their ego gets involved. So they jump online somewhere and they'll fill out an application for one of the lenders not to be named, that are out there, and they'll do all this for you, and they'll lock you in and get you your rate and get you pre-qualified that may not be worth a hill of beans, versus talking to somebody local who you can reach out. If something happens, I always say I can reach out and choke them. You know, if something happens with your loan and Don's working it, or any of the lenders we're using, I can reach out and talk to them. But if you're uncomfortable, you got to share the good, the bad, and the ugly with the people that are trying to help you. If you don't tell them the whole story, they can't help you. And if some of these lenders, not to be named, are working with you, they may not want to dig into all of that. They'll make it easy on you, and then all of a sudden, this happened to me years ago. I had a buyer coming down from Massachusetts. They moved, and this, fortunately, it was like 20 years ago that it happened. The buyer packed all their stuff up, put it in their truck, came down their U-Haul 3 days before closing, and the lender didn't deliver. And that's all about a lender that was out there in the universe somewhere, who was a part of just a mega corporation, didn't give the individual attention, didn't dig in and say, okay, well, maybe you want to slow your roll a little bit and not go forward too fast. You know, because they throw spaghetti at the wall and hope it sticks. And that's where they make their money. And getting a local lender is what we really push hard on, because it's going to give that communication. You know, we're working with one now, we'll get it done, but it's difficult because the communication's not there. I know if I call up any of the lenders we work with, and Don especially, it's going to be, as soon as he can get to that phone again, he's answering back.
For sure, you get the same day approval too.
Yeah, for sure. I think using a local lender is really an underrated part of it, because we see commercials online for all these big online banks, and it's enticing. Especially my generation, we don't like talking on the phone, and that's fine. Text me. My number is everywhere to be seen. Shoot me an email, but I guarantee you're getting a human that's going to respond, and I'm going to care about it. And that's one thing that Unisource, we pride ourselves on, is our family values, and making sure that we take care of those clients, that we deep dive into it. And there's a lot of really good local lenders in the industry. It's not just us. I love what we do, but it's very important that we keep loans local and that we do that, because we stand behind it. We want to make sure these are going to be our neighbors ultimately that we're selling these houses to, and we want to make sure that we take care of them and that we make sure this is an awesome product. So awesome.
Awesome. Well, I don't mean to cut y'all short, but this was a great episode. So Don Falk, how can they reach you?
Oh, best way to reach me, guys, my cell phone number is 229-205-7864. That's my real cell phone, this one right here. That's not some business number, 229-205-7864. I work out in the field, I work everywhere. Give me a call, shoot me a text. You can email me. My email is don@teamunisource.com. That's don@teamunisource.com. Or you can find me online. I'm everywhere. But I'd love to talk to you. If you like anything I had to say, you have questions about it, hit me up. I'd love to help you guys out. These are awesome realtors, and I'm super happy to be a part of this process.
For sure. So remember, we'll catch you on the next episode of the Dream Builders podcast. Y'all be safe. Be blessed.